Hey guys, welcome back to Bigger Better Days YouTube channel, biggerbetterdays.com. What we do is cover toxin-free, eco-friendly information so you can make better choices for yourself and the environment. Today I'm super excited. We're talking about the FoodCycler. I've been posting a lot about this on social media and people have been DMing me, commenting, asking questions. They want to hear all about it. They want to hear the review. So I'm excited to dive in. So what is the FoodCycler? It comes in a box like this. You can see a little bit of a preview of what it looks like. The FoodCycler is basically a indoor composting system. So it's a machine, and I'll show you. I'm just gonna pull it over here to kind of give you the whole, it's pretty big. You can see that I can lift it up. It's pretty decent size, pretty heavy. So you kind of want to find a good spot for it in your kitchen or wherever you plan on putting it. But essentially it's an indoor composter. So you are taking all of your food scraps, almost all of them. There's some things that you can't put in it, but most of your food scraps can go in. You dump them right inside the bucket inside, and then you simply turn it on, and like 3 hours-ish, somewhere around there, depending on what you put in it, depending on what the mix is, out comes out soil amendment. And what that means is it's not necessarily like potting soil like you'd get at the store, but it is like a nutrient dense soil amendment you can add to your garden, your lawn, flowering pots inside, plants inside, you know, whatever you want. And it's safe for the environment, obviously. So you're turning something that is waste, your extra food waste, you're turning it into something that is helpful to the environment instead of harmful. I think before I started kind of this eco-friendly zero waste journey, I figured that food garbage was really like the least harmful because it would just break down eventually. But first of all, most of us are putting our food waste in plastic bags, which don't break down or take a really long time to break down. So it's sitting inside a plastic bag, meaning it's gonna stay there. And second of all, what I actually learned throughout this process is that what happens when food waste goes to a landfill is that it's dumped in and then it is compacted. And when it is compacted like that, it doesn't have access to the oxygen and the environment that it would need to decompose, like in a compost or something like that. So what happens is it doesn't compose, and it actually, or maybe eventually does, but not, you know, right away. It's getting compacted in there, and it's releasing methane into the environment, which is obviously dangerous and is not helping any of our climate problems and things like that. So I actually heard an interesting fact that if food waste was a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases. So pretty crazy, didn't know that. Obviously that's part of the reason I got interested in composting and figuring out how all this works. There's a lot of different composting options. There's traditional composting options outside where you can build something in your yard. You're turning it over, you're putting in the right mixes of things. There are things like worm compost systems you can use indoors. Those are pretty awesome. Definitely recommend checking those out too. Or if you're just kind of getting started, that all sounds a little nerve-wracking, there's the FoodCycler. So again, the FoodCycler is an indoor composter. One thing that's different about it is it only does food scraps. So you may have heard or know that like an outdoor compost or a traditional or even a worm compost, you can put like compostable packaging, you can put different types of cardboards and things like that. Not in the FoodCycler. The FoodCycler is just for food. I'll read you a little bit about what can you put in it. Basically it says, you know, a wide variety of foods. You want, you know, whole foods. You want to mix things heavier and lighter together. And then it says things to do less high concentrations of. So you can still put these in, but not, you don't want to fill your whole FoodCycler with it. You can put in starches, so bread, cake, rice, pasta, mashed potatoes, stuffing. You can put a little bit of those in. You can put a little bit of citrus fruit rinds. You can put a little bit of condiments in, like nut butters, jams, jellies, marmalades. And then like the high sugar fruits, you can do a little bit of those too. Those things are more starchy and dense, so they can make them harder to process in larger quantities. So, and then some of the other stuff they recommend cutting into smaller pieces so it's easier to do. What can't you put in? So you cannot put in anything that's like glass, metal, wood. So you're just, again, you're just putting in food. You do not want to put in large bones, pork, lamb, or beef bones, pits, candy gum, nuts, or hard shells. So these could cause damage to the FoodCycler. So that's kind of what you can't put in there, or you can put limited quantities. Really, anything else is fair game. I thought I had read, don't quote me on this because I'm not a composting expert yet, that you aren't really supposed to compost meat in a traditional composter, and you can in the FoodCycler. So that's cool too. Again, not the bones, but the meat you can. So far, we've just been doing a mixture of like whatever leftovers we have that we didn't eat or we let go bad in the fridge. In general, we're trying to reduce our food waste, period. So the solution isn't just to FoodCycle everything, it's to buy what you need and waste less, because that's better for the environment as a whole. So we don't have a ton. I would say that in this bucket, and I'll show you the inside here, this bucket, and I'll hold it up to myself just for reference. This little guy, and there's a fill line in here, so you don't even fill all the way to the top. I would say we fill this like maybe every day, day and a half. So not a ton of food waste coming out of our house, which is a good thing. But it works well for us, and we are a family of 2 adults and 2 little kids. So when you get the FoodCycler, I just want to talk for a couple minutes about setup. I was a little nervous. How hard is the setup going to be? Is that going to be complex? Basically, it comes in this big system. It comes in that box. You pull it out. The one thing you really have to do is just pull off this back panel, and where you can see these 2 half moons are, all you're really doing is pulling off this panel, and then you're just putting these 2 basically vents right on there. They just slide right on. It literally takes about 10 seconds. And then you're just taking a couple things out of the bucket. They just come packaged that way, and removing stickers, literally. And then you're just plugging this bad boy in. So I was a little worried about setup. Like I said, it was super easy. Took maybe a minute. And I was reading super slow. So you can kind of see it's really 6 steps. Open the back panel, remove the stickers, open the lid, remove the filter caps, put the filter caps on, and then close the lid. That is it, my friends. I have just found a good spot on the counter where I'm keeping it. I did get a little jar that I'm using to hold food scraps until we're ready to put them in. They said that you shouldn't use the bucket necessarily as a collecting thing if you're going to leave it in there for long periods of time. If it's a day or less, I think that's okay. So again, this is just like an easier way to compost. It's indoors. You don't have to worry about dealing with outside. I live in the Midwest. We have inclement weather. It's winter right now, and I'm getting rid of my food waste right from inside. Some people are, put off by the idea of composting because it's messy, smelly, time-consuming. It can be complicated. It can take a little bit to get in a groove. If that's you, but you still care about the environment, you still care about reducing your waste, the FoodCycler might be the best option for you. It's easy, it's approachable, and it's a great way to get started. So, like I said, it takes almost all the food scraps. It's pretty compact. Like, this is a pretty small machine for what it's doing here. Like I said, it's simple. You put in the food waste, you get out the soil amendment. You can use that in your garden, you can use it in indoor plants, wherever you want. Cleaning it, the bucket that I took out and showed you before is dishwasher safe, so you can either hand wash it, you can put it in the dishwasher. I've just been dumping mine out. Like I said, in the garage, have the container holding my soil amendment for now, so I haven't really even needed to clean it yet. What about the noise? It's not very noisy. It has kind of like a low level humming noise that you hear. When it's in the grinding phase, you hear the wheel turning around a little bit, but it's not too loud. I was worried about the smell. I thought that after I opened this up the first time, it was going to smell really bad, and it actually doesn't. It smells like a little earthy, a little wood chippy kind of, but that's it. It doesn't smell bad, so there's been no negative side effects in terms of smell in our kitchen or anything like that. If you were leaving your food scraps sitting out in a bowl or something for a long time before you put them in, then I would say you're probably going to deal with some smells, but that makes sense. I would, just run it as you fill it up. So yeah, like I said, family of 4, this has been super easy. We're careful about our food waste anyways, but this is a great way to take up those extra things that we're not going to eat or let go bad and turn them into something good for the environment instead. So I am actually going to fill this up, and then I'm going to run it, and I'm going to show you guys what the soil comes out like in the end. So stick with me. I'm going to put some stuff in here. I've got some banana peels, some leftover chicken that has now gone bad, and I think just like maybe a few other scraps around the kitchen I'm going to put in there, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back. I have let the cycle run. We know all the lights are done here. None of them are green. That means all the cycles have finished. And we are going to open her up, and I'm going to show you what's inside. So again, to open it, you just do a quick turn and open. And then I'm actually just going to pop this right out of here so you can see. I'm going to give you a little close up. So this is your soil amendment. You can see, depending on like what you put in there, there might be some pieces left, or it might be, I've had finishes that are like more fine grain like this, and then I've had ones that are like some bigger chunks of pieces and stuff. So it kind of depends what you put in it. Like I said earlier, they recommend doing a mixture of stuff. Like you don't want to just fill it all with one thing. So again, this is soil amendment. You've now turned your food waste that would have gone to a landfill into soil amendment. You can use it in the garden, your lawn, your plants. It is winter here in the Midwest right now, so what I did is actually just took some spoonfuls of the soil amendment after I got through my run and kind of put them into some of the plants I have in my office, mixed it around and watered it. It's basically like extra nutrients for the plants, so no harm there. And then all the extra, I actually have a bin that I'm just dumping it in, a sealed bin in my garage right now. And then come spring, I'm going to have all this great nutrients that I can add to the garden, or, you know, wherever else I want to, or worst case, I don't even use it and I just, you know, dump it outside of my lawn, and it's still not a bad thing, and there's no waste. So I think this is a great thing for someone who lives in an apartment, somebody who's in a small space, somebody that doesn't have access to doing an outdoor compost, someone that doesn't want to do an indoor worm compost, that gets a little freaky, or even somebody that has access to all those things but doesn't want to deal with the complicated kind of aspects of composting, or some of the grosser aspects of composting. So it just kind of depends, you know, if you want like the cleaner, more modern version of composting and getting rid of your food waste, this is a great option. So check out the FoodCycler. They range in price depending on if they're having a sale or not, anywhere from like $300 to $400. Hopefully we'll, you know, keep seeing that price go down as more people buy it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media, and check us out on biggerbetterdays.com for more information on toxin-free and eco-friendly living so that you can make better choices for yourself and the planet. Thanks.